Hello and welcome to another Damian and Devlin show, and this is our review for The Matrix, 1999 film, directed by the Wachowskis and starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Hugo Weaving. And this is... Do I have too many fans on, or do you want me to close a window? Are you a little chilly, or...
There is no spoon.
Alright, I could get you some from the kitchen if you wanted.
Now, I figured it'd be cool to dress up like one of the characters since they wear all black and never take their sunglasses off.
Ah, well, that's fun. Anyhow, you may have guessed, Damian chose this week's movie because he's a fan of it. And he also found out recently that I am not a fan of this movie. In fact, according to Rotten Tomatoes, I'm in like 14% that didn't like this movie.
Pretty low.
It's very low, and I'm in that group. And I used to not want to talk about this movie because, one, it enrages me, and two, because I just don't need to deal with all that, and I knew I'm going to be crucified, so he decided, what a great, fun movie to show, and have me go through that. So anyhow, this is The Matrix, and this is our review. This is a huge film. It was a box office success, and it was critically acclaimed. People loved it and said that it was groundbreaking and actually changed how movies was. I will give you all of that. I did all of that. I'm not necessarily going to say if it was in a good way or not. I am not a fan. What's your love of this movie about?
I love, and you know what, rewatching it, I thought there were more, but I do love the action sequences within them. I do enjoy the soundtrack very much.
Are you going into your positives? Because I was going for a general review.
You asked me what I liked about it.
Okay, so these are Damian's positives.
Ask me what I liked about it. I can't work with this guy sometimes. Like, geez.
I'm still reeling from it, so positives.
Holy moly, you should have seen it during the middle of the movie. Doom and gloom. Holy.
Okay, positives.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes.
Okay. Is that
Don't be talking about my doom and gloom as a positive, though.
So, as I was saying, I also like the soundtrack. I'm a big fan of a lot of the music that came from it. And my favorite color is green, and there's a lot of green in the movie, so that's pretty cool, too.
I saw one tie. Everything else is kind of...
They filmed it with that green lens.
Oh, yeah, the green with the bad computer stuff,
all that, too. I like green a lot, so...
I didn't feel
like
green. I didn't feel green in it. Sorry, I'm supposed to be thinking of positives. Is that all your positives?
Yes.
Good positives.
Yes, yeah, those are my positives.
I think some of the visuals were really good. In fact, I think some of the visuals were absolutely phenomenal. And I'm glad that, maybe they kind of rediscovered them in later films. I thought there were some moments that were just spectacular looking, and as directors, I think they really pulled off a lot. I think they could have done more, but this was one of their early films, if not their earliest, I believe.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
So, for, being fairly new, I think they did a really good job. And I did enjoy the soundtrack, but I don't think the music fit in this movie at all. I kept thinking...
I don't see how, though.
The moment that, there's the moment where he realizes he's as awesome as they keep telling him. There's some music in this that I think could have been used in another film so greatly, but here it just looked kind of cheesy. Like Keanu Reeves actually needed that music to believe in himself.
It's music, you can't look at it. Second of all...
A good music you can look and visualize, you can.
So this is what I had to deal with this entire movie. Second of all, where else would you have used it? Because it's beautiful. It's electronic, it's magical, it's whimsical.
No, for the world that they were trying to produce, they should have gone more electronica, more darker electronica kind of thing.
That's why they brought in Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie has that Dragula mix that he did for the soundtrack, and it fits perfectly.
This music, I just think, could have been used better in another film. There's my positives.
You can't see it, but I'm rolling my eyes.
What are your negatives of the film? Do you have any?
I do. And believe it or not, you and I do agree on some things. I do still believe that the soundtracks. I hate those. They're so distracting.
Well, they're entertaining and when they
Not to
are
me.
done for fun, but
Not to me.
since this movie has no fun in it anywhere.
So those, I don't like them. I did not like aspects of the plot. Some of it did not make sense at all to me. For example, there's a character named Cypher in it, where he betrays the group. Spoiler, it came out in '99. If you haven't seen it yet, it's your own fault. But he betrays the group. But my question is, how did he go into the Matrix to talk with the agents and then come out of the Matrix and then go back in with the group as if they had no idea what he had done? Who plugged him in? And who unplugged him? Right? So how did that happen? Also, the whole fact where Neo gets shot.
And they were talking on the phone.
Who
They
was
used a
talking?
rotary. Cypher was using a rotary phone. They were talking on the phone.
Who sent him? Who sent him the line to get out?
I assume he could do that.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole thing. That's why they have that tank character who's the
I don't know. Why
operator.
am I defending this movie?
Why are you?
I don't know. I'm trying to
You
give
hate
it
this
some
movie.
merit. Hate is yes, and I
You
don't
hate
like to
this
use the
movie.
word hate.
But it just that part to me just does not make sense to me. It kind of takes me out of the movie. I also don't like how at the end Neo, when he gets shot
Spoiler
so many
again.
times. Well, I told you it's '99. Like if you have not seen this movie, it's not my fault at this point. It's your fault. But he gets shot. He seemingly dies. They even check his pulse. He's gone. He's gone. He's done. And then Trinity kisses him, and suddenly he comes back to life. Like, what is that?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. One of the many things they rip off to get the screenplay of
It
this.
just that to me like really pulls me out of it. There's also another really big bother of me because I know a lot about weapons and guns, and when they're rescuing Morpheus, Neo's sitting there on a minigun and he's going throughout the entire building, and he doesn't hit Morpheus, and it takes him an extravagant amount of effort to hit who he's trying to hit with a minigun in such an enclosed space, like the size of this room. He can't seem to hit who he's trying to hit. That bothers me a lot.
See, it's catching. 'Cause
But I always do like the story cliches of humanity versus a foreign entity. So in this case, the machines. I love those kinds of stories. But those aspects of the plot for this movie just I can't.
my negatives.
Here we go. Hold on tight.
I'll be keep it down to a minimum. First of all, the acting in some of this is atrocious. I don't hate Keanu Reeves, but he has been known to be hit and miss with me. Like you show me a John Wick, or even in Speed, he's pretty bad, but he's okay.
I love Speed.
Bill
movie.
and Ted, he can pull off those surfer dude guys really good. He's awesome in a movie, Parenthood. But it's not just him. You know, Carrie-Anne Moss, I know they were trying to go for sexy, but I felt it looked... I think I've seen Celine Dion in Las Vegas look sexier in that same leather outfit, you know, singing Stevie
What
Wonder
are you even
tune.
talking about?
She's as sexy as sawdust. And she's not a great actress. I think there's a reason we don't hear from her as often. Anyhow, Lawrence Fishburne at least brings it home. He's at least keeps a straight face through this. But there's so much horrible acting. I don't mind when movies copy others. A movie like Star Wars, which I love, definitely borrowed a little bit. But this screenplay, first of all, is a horribly written screenplay in my eyes. I think the dialogue is silly. The fact that they're whispering, you know, there is no spoon before... That's not, may the force be with you. I'm saying that's not quality. You know, I don't hear people quoting, there is no spoon. And the Oracle did have a spoon rack. But anyhow, we won't go into that. But, you know, she didn't believe
You're
it.
missing the point.
Yeah, I know.
You're missing the point.
But anyhow, they take from everything, right? They take from everything. They take from the Bible, big time. And, like, they have to constantly hit you over the head with, this is the Jesus Christ story told for gamers who might not want to read about anything else. They take from The Wizard of Oz. They take from Alice in Wonderland, and if I was smarter, probably a lot more other things. And I don't mind if they pay homage to them, but they blatantly just take everything, even your Snow White kiss thing. That is so embarrassing that that's how they get out of this movie. if you're going to do the Jesus Christ, he even sacrificed himself, So I thought if he died and like. Anyhow, we won't go into my twisted ending. I know people rave about the visual effects in this, but I saw the visual effects, that whole where they stop the action and then they turn it. That was all done a year before in Lost in Space. And they did it once or twice, and it was fine. It was neat when you saw it.
They did it for the first time in a cool movie. When it came to the Matrix.
This is a thing called bullet time, and they've been actually doing the slow motion bullets since the late 60s. The Matrix did use some cool aspects, but they also used this in a Gap commercial with swing dancing where they stopped, rotated, and the action continued. I saw this stuff, so I was just like, yawn. And them running on walls and doing backflips, and I never felt that the characters were in jeopardy, and that's where I lose it. I can get movies that are over the top and ridiculous, but when I don't care, like if they're gonna die or live, the characters are all two-dimensional. There's no character development whatsoever. I don't care about these people. This is a video game player's wet dream. They play video games all day, and one day somebody shows up and says, hey, you're important. And guess what? You do not have to do anything, because we're just going to program stuff in your head. You don't even have to work for anything.
So, here's the thing, though. It's not that. It's just saying that you can be in control of your own life. And that is what they're trying to go off.
That's what you get from it, but they are actually telling you that you don't have to work for anything. You just get it programmed in your head.
Which is cool.
And yeah, I know, but this doesn't tell you have to work for anything. This doesn't tell you anything. This movie was a hit because every basement dweller, and I respect if you like this movie. It's just if you... we'll stop there because it makes you want to think deep. But anybody who has a brain has already thought about this kind of things, the meaning of life and stuff. You don't need, like, people in the 60s were smoking pot listening to Sgt. Pepper talking about this stuff. They didn't need every moment to be narrated like, you're Jesus Christ. Hey, look, if you put Neo spinned around, it's the one.
The most important thing is you can tell that he really dislikes
I do not like this movie, and send your hate comments because I know they're coming.
So
he's got a couple coming too in the future, so I don't feel too bad. But I'm literally shaking right now because I am a movie fan, and this insults me for people.
It shouldn't. It's okay.
If you like it, that's great. That's wonderful. I do not like this movie, and I think it ruined movies in a lot of ways. Because everything had to be spoon-fed. I'll let you talk now.
Spoon-fed.
I'm very upset.
That was a good analogy.
Yeah.
I like that, spoon-fed.
Yeah, there is no spoon.
So now that you know exactly how this man feels about this movie.
I'm edgy right now.
I can tell you that I grew up with this movie. When it came out, I was 8 years old, so this was kind of the first introduction to this sort of movie for me. So like Kung Fu and whatnot, and obviously growing up at the turn of the millennium, I thought all this was so cool. The fact that you could plug in and learn Kung Fu in a matter of seconds, I thought that was so cool. But I also understand the benefits of learning and failing and learning and failing. So I totally get that aspect. But I do think that the movie, kind of, going off of your point, I do think it does take itself a little bit too seriously. It believes in itself too much, and it's very self-important. And with that said, I still think for what it is a very entertaining film. I personally, like I said, I like the soundtrack, visually very stunning, and for me, growing up, it was one of the first times that I ever saw these kind of special effects. So for me, it was very groundbreaking, and a lot of people who are my age or around the same age as me feel the same way.
But there's a lot of older people that also love this movie, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
All right.
Nobody's going to change. I tried to go into this movie open-minded, and within 10 minutes I was reminded how stupid that they thought their audience was and had to spell out everything, and I started getting insulted. I don't like to be insulted when I go to the movies. I want to be entertained.
Well, I felt entertained.
Well, there you go. And what would you give this out of 5?
I would give this not 1, not 2, but 3 out of 5. Because I felt very, very entertained by it. And
3 is not very entertained. It's just barely entertained.
Like I said, it's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would give it a 3 out of 5. And I stand firm on that.
I give this a 1, and that's for some of the visuals. 1. I find I can only give it for the visuals, and that's about it.
Oh, hold on. You're giving it a 1.
I am giving it a 1
because Neo is the 1.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm giving it a 1. We'll go with that if that helps you sleep tonight. No, I'm going to stick with 1. I think I'm being very generous. This movie does things to me. You've sat with me with many movies. You even said yourself, I have never seen you so worked up in a movie before.
It's true.
I am giving it a 1 because there were visuals, but there were so many, like they could have done better in the visuals too. So if they actually had more visuals, I might go to a 1.5, but I think some of it is an ugly feeling movie.
Well, I feel bad for the sequels then, if we ever get around to reviewing them.
I'm sure you'll put me through them, because I think you secretly enjoyed me being on edge, because he's never seen me like that, because usually we watch movies and it's okay, or I love it, I love these movies, so it's a real journey for us too. Anyhow, that's our review for The Matrix, and please let us know what you think, because honestly, I want to hear what you think. Tell me, swayed me. I have tried to watch reviews and stuff, trying to understand it. Maybe you, the viewers, can tell me. And if you agree with me, please tell me, because nobody will admit to it. What do you got to say?
If you think that you can sway this guy and I can't, then you have some mystical powers about you. Maybe you're the one. But as always, please let us know what you think of us, how we're doing. Comment. Definitely tell him he's wrong and that he's thinking too much about it in the comments.
Probably
give us a like, because we want to know if you do like what we're doing. And then subscribe. Every Tuesday, new video, new review. Pretty awesome. With that, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
It's that easy.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.